Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am AttiDude back in another video, and this is the third tutorial of the C# Math Course series. And today we're going to be taking a look at variables and data types. Both are the same. You do not need to confuse. So if you haven't liked or subscribed my channel yet, do it now. I'll provide more content like this. Without any further ado, let's begin our journey. So here we are inside of Visual Studio, and this was the class that we edited in our last tutorial. If you have not watched that, I recommend that you watch that by clicking on the I button or going down in the description where I have mentioned that link. So let's go to View and Solution Explorer. So we have our program.cs, the class, and we have a function. You can double click to navigate it to that, but I don't want such thing. You can also navigate through here, here, and here. So here we are inside of the main method, and we need to declare variables. So the main type of variables are divided into 4 categories. One is called the integers, which the data in which the variables store the values of integers, not float, decimal, or any number that has a decimal value. It does not store that. It stores only number that do not have any decimal value. It is full number. The second one is the real number. So it stores real numbers, like any number. It does not matter if it has a decimal or any sort of point value fraction. It does not matter. For example, the value of pi to be 3.14. Like that, the decimals or the real numbers store them. And the third category we have is text. That includes storing some text. And the fourth one, which is kind of a boolean, and we'll explore them deeply once we start them. So first of all, let's explore the integer values. There are 4 types, but we're gonna only focus on 2 because these 2 are main types. One is byte. No, I don't want this, but byte. You see the keyword, byte keyword, it says. And you also mention that add items from unimported namespace, Alt A, and make sure you turn this on so that you every time don't need to go here and add in the namespace. Visual Studio will do it automatically. So include we write byte, and then we write the name of the variable. So I'm gonna write b, byte b, and it would be better if we define values right here. Byte b, for example, let me set that to be 255, and you also need to ensure that whatever purpose you are using, byte only has a range between 0 and 255, because byte only stores number between that. For example, if we write -1, it says it cannot be converted to a byte. And even if we write 256, it says constant value cannot be converted to a byte, because byte only stores till 255. And you need to take care of this. And the value that we use for a lot is int. I'm gonna name this I equals to and its ranges from -2.1 billion to 2.1 billion. So you can imagine how huge that number is. So you can write any number, for example, write 25000 or 00, whatever you're gonna call, and you need to make sure that you write semicolon at the end, because that defines that it is the end of the line. And in some cases you write like this, for example like me, and it makes the code easier to read, even though the number of lines increase, but it is easier to read. So I recommend you write like this, or if you do not like this, then I can write your way. And now the second type, to have the real numbers. There are actually three main types. Float, I'm gonna name this f, equals to formatting like this, 3.14, and you can't write this like this. We need to write f at the last, because whenever you are having point, then you need to write f at the last. If you don't have any point, it's okay if you don't write f, but if you are having, it's compulsory to write. And then the second type that we have here is the double. D equals to maybe like 3.22, but here you don't need to write anything, maybe 4.26. And one thing that you need to make sure that you don't need to write anything, f, m, whatever. It's okay if you don't write. You can still have f at the last, but you can't have m. And you can also have d at the last, but as we saw that it shows an error. We don't have any f at the last. It shows because a normal decimal value is like a double, so it does not know that the value 3.14 is a float. So to tell the compiler that the value 3.14 is a float value, we'll write f at the end. But if we don't write, the compiler will be confused and will show an error. So to prevent that, we write f at the last. And the third one and the last one that we have in real number is decimal. Like C, maybe equals to, and we're gonna write like 5.67 maybe, and semicolon. And you also see that we get an error. And for the decimals, we need a suffix m. For floats, we need f. And for decimals, we can write f, a d, or it's okay if we don't write. So commenting is very important. I'm gonna write integers so that we know what we are doing. It keeps track and separates them. Real numbers. And now the third one that we have is text. And for text, there are actually two types of text, and we have a string and a char. Both have different function, and we'll explore them. Once we write string, and we can write s equals to maybe like subscribe my channel. And what the string does is store a text. It means any text that we can store. For example, we can also have these here, but it does not make any sense. It will show error. So basically we can store anything inside of the double quotes, but remember, don't use the double quotes. It will mess up all your code. It's better not to write that. And now we have a char or car, whatever you're gonna call, char. I'm gonna name this c equals to, no, we already defined c. Make this like e, and name this c equals to maybe like a. And what the char stores is that it only have one character. That means any Unicode character. It can only store one character, not more than that. And that character is stored inside of the single quotes, while the string is stored inside of the double quotes. So you need to remember that. And now we have the last as booleans. Let us see what these are. The name is pretty horrific, but don't worry. Actually, we just have one here. So boolean, and there is just one type of boolean, that is bool. And you can name this b equals to, and what b does is either to store true or false. You get an error already defined in here. We already defined here. So let us name this O. So, and what bool does is to store if the condition is true or false. It only stores true or false, nothing more than that. You can write either true or either false. There's no other option. For example, you're gonna write true in this case, and here's our main variables. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these 8 are the main variable types. And even the decimal is not much used. So consider just having 6 to 7. Even the double is only used in rare cases. So just consider that there are only 5 to 6. Even char is not used at many places. There are just 6 to 7. Not that much, but 4 to 5 types of variables that are mostly used. For example, int, float, string, bool. These 4 are used in every program. So we can now write, we can just name this. Oh, I don't want to play it right now. Oh, come on. What is happening here? Oh, we can write like printing. And from the next line, we can write like console.writeLine. Here it is. And you can pass in any kind of variable. In this case, we're gonna pass in one by one. First b, and copy this, and I copied this using the command Control D. And what this does is easily copies and paste it down in the next line. You can write I, and if we want to keep track of the variables, you can go here. But because we have not defined this outside of the method and inside of the program, it will not show up here. Maybe it would show here. No, it doesn't show. So it is always recommended that you define variables outside of this, but for this case it's okay. because we're not gonna make anyone access our variables, so it's okay. And define all of these. What's after E? S, and then we have C, then we have O, and you can also click this button or press F5. What it will do is to just run your program, and it says 255, which was our byte, 25000, which was our int, 3.14, which was our float. Then we have the double, which was 4.26. Yes, it was. Then we have decimal, 5.67. We have string, subscribe my channel. Yes, it was. A, which was the C. Oh, here it is. A, which was our char. There it is. And we also have O, which was boolean set to true. And so there it is. And you can click any button to close this window. Close escape, hit escape, and you can close this. Save it once again, so to prevent it from not saving and losing data. So once we have declared any variable, we can modify its value as easily. For example, if we want integer to be 1000, then we can easily modify like I equals to 1000, and it is this simple. And in a later video, I will explain you more about the operators. So till then, keep practicing C#, because if you don't practice, you'll not be able to learn. And also, I will upload another video today. Make sure you check that out, and also check our previous videos so that you have a pretty good knowledge of what it is, what the programming is. And we also have a video on the variable types, a pretty old video. Make sure you check that out. So this is it for today, and we'll meet in a later video. I am AttiDude signing out.